In 301 AD, Armenia became the first country in the world to adopt Christianity as its state religion. Not one of the first. The first. This single fact starts to explain why traveling through Armenia feels so different from anywhere else in the Caucasus. The landscape is covered in medieval monasteries, ancient churches, and cross stones called kochkars, an entire artistic tradition that exists nowhere else on earth. And almost no one comes to see it. Armenia is one of the most overlooked travel destinations in the world. That's your opportunity. Number 1. Yerevan is one of the most livable cities in the Caucasus. The Armenian capital sits in a bowl-shaped valley, with Mount Ararat, a 5,100-meter dormant volcano that is the national symbol of Armenia, visible on clear days from the city center. The mountain is actually in Turkey, taken from Armenia after the 1920 war, and Armenians can see it every day from a country it no longer belongs to. The emotion attached to that view is difficult to overstate. Yerevan itself is a city of pink tuff stone, a volcanic rock that gives the buildings a warm rose color in afternoon light. The city center is elegant and walkable. Republic Square, with its illuminated fountains, is genuinely beautiful. The Cascade, a giant staircase monument covered in public art, rises from the city center and gives views across the valley to the mountains. The city has a sophisticated food and wine scene by regional standards, a good hostel and guesthouse network, and a genuinely warm atmosphere that makes solo travel easy and enjoyable. Number 2. The monasteries will stop you in your tracks. Armenia has over 3,000 surviving medieval churches and monasteries, many of them in extraordinary natural settings that seem almost impossibly dramatic. Geghard Monastery is carved partially into a sheer cliff face in a narrow gorge, founded in the 4th century. The interior has naturally formed chambers cut from living rock, with beautiful acoustics that make any sound extraordinary. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and on a weekday it's almost empty. Noravank is a 13th-century red stone monastery set in a narrow canyon of sheer red cliffs. The combination of the building and the landscape is one of the most beautiful images in the entire Caucasus region. Korvirup, near the Turkish border, sits on a hillock with direct views of Ararat across the border. It's where Gregory the Illuminator, who converted Armenia to Christianity, was imprisoned for 13 years before emerging to convert the king. You can descend into the pit where he was kept. The views of the mountain from here are extraordinary. Number 3. Garni and the Pagan Temple. Armenia's conversion to Christianity came relatively late in regional terms, and before it, the country practiced a form of Zoroastrianism. The Garni Temple, the only surviving Hellenistic structure in the South Caucasus, was built in the 1st century AD as a pagan temple and was preserved after conversion as a royal bathhouse. It sits on a dramatic promontory above a deep gorge, with a river at the bottom and the entire southern Armenian plateau visible beyond it. The temple is beautifully preserved, the setting is spectacular, and the combination of Greek columns, Armenian stone, and mountain backdrop is genuinely unique. The nearby Symphony of Stones, a natural basalt column formation created by volcanic cooling, looks engineered but is entirely geological, columns packed so tightly they resemble pipes of a massive organ. Number 4. Lake Sevan is extraordinary. Lake Sevan sits at 1,900 meters above sea level and covers nearly 5% of Armenia's total land area. It is one of the largest high-altitude lakes in the world, and its color, a deep cobalt blue that shifts to turquoise near the shores, is stunning against the brown Armenian highlands. The Savanavank Monastery, on a small peninsula that was an island before the Soviet-era drainage that lowered the lake level, gives you views across the water in every direction. On clear days, the reflections of clouds in the lake's surface make the water look like a mirror placed in the mountains. Number 5. The food and the brandy. Armenian cuisine is hearty, herb-heavy, and deeply satisfying. Korovats, Armenian barbecue, cooked over wood fire with a specific technique that has been practiced for centuries, is considered the national dish and appears at every family gathering. Lavash, thin flatbread that UNESCO recognized as an intangible cultural heritage, is baked in toners, underground clay ovens, and eaten with everything. Dolma, grape leaves stuffed with meat and rice, is done here with a subtlety of spice that differs from Turkish and Greek versions. And then there is Armenian brandy. The Ararat brand has been produced in Yerevan since 1887. Winston Churchill reportedly drank it every day of World War II. Winston Churchill had good taste. A bottle of good Armenian brandy costs $12 to $20 in a local shop. A glass in a bar costs $1 to $2. Number 6. It costs very little. Armenia is significantly cheaper than Western Europe. A bed in a good hostel in Yerevan costs $8 to $14 per night. A private room in a guest house is $15 to $25. A full restaurant meal is $4 to $8. A glass of Armenian brandy is $1. A week in Armenia, covering Yerevan, Geghard, Noravank, Garni, and Lake Sevan, costs between $150 and $200 all in, including accommodation, food, transport, and entry fees. That's for 7 days of extraordinary cultural and natural experience. Number 7. Almost no one comes here. Armenia receives a fraction of the visitors of neighboring Georgia or Turkey. The monasteries are empty on weekdays. The canyons have no crowds. The restaurants are filled with Armenians, not tourists. This will change. The country is increasingly being discovered. But the window of genuinely low crowds is open right now. Number 8. Getting there. Most nationalities can enter Armenia without a visa for up to 180 days. Yerevan Zvartnots International Airport has direct connections to many European cities, Dubai, and several regional capitals. Flights from Istanbul take about 90 minutes. From Moscow, 3 hours. From Paris, 4 hours. Armenia is also reachable by land from Georgia. The road from Tbilisi to Yerevan takes about 5 hours by shared taxi and offers spectacular scenery crossing the Caucasus Mountains. Armenia doesn't market itself. It doesn't need to. The monasteries have been standing for 1500 years and they'll keep standing. The brandy keeps improving. And the view of Ararat from Republic Square, in the early morning light, is one of the most moving things you'll see in the entire region. Subscribe for the next video. We're going to Azerbaijan, where fire shoots naturally from the ground and the capital looks like Dubai built by Soviet architects. See you there.